All right, ladies, welcome, welcome. Welcome to our masterclass. This is the all inclusive, all you need to know tax business roadmap masterclass. So, if you are looking to start your tax business, if you are looking to elevate your tax business, if you're looking to add some girl boss energy to your operations and systems, this is going to be the masterclass that you want to take. I am your host, Tia. I am going to walk you through this master class that we put together. This class is a collection of all of the 10 years of hard work, effort, and mistakes that have been made to create a now successful tax business. So if you have about 45 minutes to an hour to stick around to take this master class, feel free to sit in. If you don't have that type of time to put to the side, then maybe you need to save this for later or take this class when we host it again. It is going to be extremely important that you not only watch this webinar, but you take notes and you create actionable strategies. This webinar is intended not to just be digested, but to help you leave with actionable items, things that you want to not only take note of, but do starting today. So, if that is you, if you're looking to grow your tax business, if you're tired of being stagnant, if you're ready to take your side hustle and turn that into your main hustle, then I need you to stick around. All right, so without further ado, we are going to get into this. So, for today's agenda, we are going to learn the proven roadmap that I and my team have created that has grown our business to over six figures. How do we do that? And how do you grow your tax business without being overwhelmed? We're going to run through that roadmap today. We're also going to uncover strategies to attract and retain the ideal clients. It's not enough to just get new clients every year. It's not enough to just get you serve the same clients every year. We want to put that together to figure out how to do both, attract and retain, and also who your ideal client is, because not everyone is your ideal client. Then we're going to jump into Streamline, how to streamline your operations to save you time and to save you money. How are you maximizing on your profits? Now, every 6 months or so, we tend to try out new products, try out new systems and softwares. So at the time that you're watching this webinar, there may be something completely new that we've come up with and developed to help maximize and streamline operations. If you follow along with us, the more information we get, the more we're going to put out. And then last but not least, outside of the exterior things, we want to make sure that you have the confidence, girl, that you need to scale and focus with clarity. Tax businesses can feel so overwhelming. There is so much tax law involved. There are so many times where the government and so many different agencies are just changing things and changing systems, that you feel like, am I ever going to get caught up? Am I ever going to be able to serve my clients at a high level? So we want to go through what you need in order to build that confidence, that education level, in order to really focus in and like get to where you're trying to go with your business. All right. All right. So we went through the agenda. Let's keep this train going. So, a little bit about me. My name is Tia, the Tax Maximalist. I own a tax business. I am a mentor, and I am starting a new journey where I actually want to launch a pilot program where I'm intentionally helping more women in the tax field really expand and grow on their business. So it has been a pleasure for you all to go on this journey with me to explore what that looks like and how my team can best serve you all in getting to where you all want to be, and hopefully far and exceed where we are in our business. That is my goal and my wish for you. So, a little bit about me to date. Since I started my own business, we've processed more than $3.5 million in tax refunds. It's not on here, but we've also done about $250,000 in tax savings as well. I have served as a community liaison for a seven-figure tax marketing and development agency. And this is an agency that helps small tax businesses grow. This is where I was serving as their community liaison, offering support to people coming in, um, being able to filter out those questions, being able to advocate for the community. That was me. And it was about more than 700 tax businesses that was a part of that community. To date, I've been able to generate more than $2 million in revenue with over 100 verified five-star reviews from my own personal tax business. My business annually conducts over 400 plus free tax consultations annually. Just our gift back to our community, just wholeheartedly wanting to help people, point them in the right direction, even if that right direction is not us. That is what me and my team does. We annually receive around $250,000 in grants from our local government to teach tax and financial principles to youth within our community. Today, I have personally mentored 10 women in the last 2 years to help them build and grow their virtual tax business to 5+ figures. And more than anything, I am a super, super, super proud mom of two kiddos. One who's an aspiring architect, and the other one who is currently majoring in computer engineering. Okay, so let's keep it moving. So, a few housekeeping rules for this webinar is to keep yourself muted unless it's your turn to speak or ask a question. We want to make sure we're being respectful of the time that we've allotted for this webinar. And it's always best to kind of just let us go through the information. Your questions may be answered as we go through. And then if not, we do have Q&A at the end. So again, ask questions or make comments in the chat. This helps to keep the session organized. And once we get to those checkpoints where we are able to answer questions, we'll be checking the chat to make sure that we're addressing everyone. If you are watching this on YouTube, you are free to put your questions down in the comment section, and we'll do our best to go back and answer those as well. Just make sure you keep your interactions relevant to the webinar content. We don't want, and we will highly discourage people promoting your own mentoring program or items or materials, whatever it is that you have in this segment. Use professional language. Be respectful in all of your communication. We are truly, truly big on just bringing love, you know, peace, and really understanding that this is a community that we're building of support. No question is a dumb question or crazy question. Understand that everyone has different levels of understanding, and just leave space for people to grow and expand. And maybe you'll learn something if you open yourself up to hear people and love more and hate less and pass less judgment on. Last but not least, if there are any polls or discussions or activities that are built into this webinar, just make sure you engage in them to really make the most of your experience here, because we want to educate, but we also want to make sure we're having a ton of fun. And speaking of ton of fun, we're going to jump over into our icebreaker. Which, did I spell breaker right? Who knows? It charged it to my heart. Looks like icebreaker, but we'll figure that out later on. So our icebreaker for today is, and again, if you are watching this and it's already been recorded, you are free to participate in this icebreaker in the comments. So this icebreaker is called "What is your potential?" So I need everyone to close their eyes, see a pretend whiteboard in front of them, and I need you to imagine this. Did you know that if we took, and just imagine this, all of the tax filers in the US, which is a little bit over 160 million tax filers, if you took all the tax filers in the US and divide them by all of the active paid tax professionals that are registered in the US. So we have all of the tax filers, multiply that by all of the paid tax professionals. That would be around 800 potential clients for each tax professional. So, like I said, close your eyes, let that sink in. 800 potential clients for each tax professional. If you are not at 800 clients yet, if that is your goal, then boom, that's your number there, right? And if you are there and you are surpassed that amount, that is excellent. Still stick around. Let's think about that number that you have, that you're already reaching. And if you are exceeding that, then guess what? That's excellent. That means that you are doing well and above whatever your potential is. But for those who have not reached that point yet, that 800 is that client potential. So now, what we want to do with that 800 is now we want to think about what is the average cost of a tax return prepared by you? What is the average cost of a tax return prepared by you? The reason I ask that is because we're going to take that 800 that you're seeing in front of you. We want to multiply that 800 potential clients. Multiply that by your average tax return cost. If you have a flat rate cost, that's great. Use your flat rate cost. If you have a variable cost because you're priced by form, not a problem. Pick an average, somewhere a median cost that you normally charge, and take that and multiply that by the $800. 800 clients. Whatever that figure is that you've come up with, drop that in the chat. Drop that figure in the chat. This, my friend, is what we call your income potential. So I need you to take a quick look at that. This is what we call your income potential. The 800 multiplied by the average tax return cost. This is your income potential. And if you have not started your tax business yet, do not fret. Think about a figure or an amount that you would be comfortable charging someone. Take that, multiply that by 800, and drop that in the comment. This is still your potential. Are we seeing it? All right, perfect. Perfect. Yes. So, the reason that we do that exercise, because we have two parts of our brain that we're always working with. One part of that is the present, where we are now, what we're operating in now, the resources that we have now, the money, the clients, the things that we have now right in front of us that we can still see, feel, and touch. And then we have this other aspect, which is that figure in the comment below, which is your potential. This is the thing that we want to get to. Right now, we're talking about a figure, a dollar amount, but that potential could also be a concept, how big you want to grow your business, how much of an impact you want to make, how much income you want to make. Like all of these things are potential, and potential is attainable with the right tools. The biggest problem that we see with our tax business owners, with our tax girlies, is that They have one aspect, which is the present, which is where they're in currently. They have the potential where they know they have the ability to go to, but they're missing something in the middle. And this middle part, this dreadful middle part, is what we call the gap. The gap is this variable um uh void between the present where you are and your potential, like where you want to go. Let's talk about this gap, what this gap represents. So, this gap is composed of several things. Everyone's gap, every tax girl's gap may be different, but there are some aspects that are common. So, we're going to talk about those. So, the first part of that gap that we're seeing there between the present and the potential, let's get into it. 8 out of 10 tax professionals struggle to scale to $100,000 and beyond. So that means that out of all of the registered tax professionals in the United States, um, 8 out of 10 are making less than $100,000, which means that only 2 out of 10 are making $100,000 or more. So that means that if you were to go out here and introduce yourself or network and you meet 10 other tax professionals, there's a very high chance that only 2 out of 10 of them are making $100,000 in their business or as a tax professional full time. The other part that's kind of mingled in with that gap is that we're always told about furthering our career and how education is a big part of that. So, another part of that gap, because in this gap, we think that I can't get to this figure. Look at the figure that you put in the chat. I cannot get to this figure. I can't get to this clientele amount because I'm not a CPA, because I'm not an EA, which is an enrolled agent with the IRS, right? And that gap, that thing that's creating this gap, right? That is what's causing us not to move forward into our potential. So what we're doing here is we're trying to close the gaps, right? We're breaking the stigma, the things that we've been told that are creating these gaps for us so we can make the present and the potential a little bit more closer. So doing some research of even with the promotion of a CPA or getting your becoming an EA and enrolled agent, the starting income is between 68 and 85, which means that you meeting a tax professional, this 2 out of 10 in the previous bullet, who's not a CPA, who's not an EA, they could very well be making way more money than a CPA, which is a certified public accountant and an enrolled agent is. Okay, let's keep going. What else is this gap composed of? So most tax professionals resort to adding additional services to their practice as a way to increase their revenue. So if you're looking at the figure that you put in the chat, you may be saying to yourself, okay, this figure is attainable, but not by doing taxes alone. Like I have to do some other things. I have to do credit repair. I have to do life insurance. I have to um, do some tax planning. People are, really into tax planning now. I have to maybe get another side gig and do some hair on the side. What I am telling you is that it is 100% possible and doable and realistic to run a tax office to get to the figure that you put in the chat with just doing tax preparation alone, without adding extra services, without learning new skill sets, without trying to do business credit, trying to be a mortgage lender, trying to be a real estate agent, trying to be a credit consultant or do credit repair. Without adding any of those things, you can make 100 plus as a tax professional just by doing taxes. I promise you. So we're shrinking the gap. That gap should be getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So now another thing that this gap is composed of is operations and systems, right? Us saying, hey, we need this big team, or I can do it, but I'm stuck in this world of pen and paper, right? In order for you to reach the figure that you put in that chat, you have to get into technology. And I hate to say it, but 47% of tax professionals express interest in automation, express interest in technology, express interest in AI, but they really struggle to implement it. So that results in you going out, buying all of these courses, in investing in all of these coaching programs for AI and software building and apps, and you don't use any of it. You don't use any of it because the learning curve may be too much, or maybe you paid for something that only gave you part of the information but not the other half. You don't know how to sync those things together. And so with anything, if there is a learning curve or inability to properly use the thing that is purchased, it's it's not going to be used. If I don't understand it, I'm not going to use it, right? So what we want to do in that gap is we want to figure out how can we use automation, how can we use technology to get to the figure that we put in the chat below. And last but not least, over half of tax professionals have a second job to leverage their income. So I'm going to be honest with you. Whatever figure you put in the chat below, you cannot get to that figure by, especially if you're a solo tax girly, you cannot get to that figure that you put in the chat below by working 2 and 3 jobs. You have to be tunneled vision here. You have to be tunnel vision. You have to say that this is the thing I want to do. I want to do it full time. I want to grow and make it successful. Right. This is going back to the being the jack of all trades. That's not what we want to. We want to become a master of one in this situation. And I promise you, if you take your time, if you invest, if you become a master in this and leverage all that the tax preparation world has to offer you, you will reach that figure in the chat and more. But you have to put all of your eggs in one basket just as one time. So, with all those things mentioned, right? And there are probably even more things that I have not talked about that get thrown into that gap when it comes to how am I going to start my business and more, or how am I going to grow my tax business? What I have come to realize is that there needs to be something and someone there to kind of help fill in the gaps, because a lot of times we can see our issues and our problems, but we don't always know how to solve them. And that is really where Her Tax Pro comes in. Our goal as a community is to provide resources and tools, education to female tax professionals to help grow and excel their tax business. Within our pilot program, we are looking to add courses, add education. We're looking to add metrics. How are we measuring your success? What areas are you failing in? What areas do you need to grow in? And really providing niche resources for those exact tools. So if your issue is marketing, we don't want to give you something or give you tools related to client retention. We want to make sure that the symptom is matched with the cure and they both are um, cohesive with each other. So, in understanding what this looks like, we're going to go through this overall roadmap to success. So, this roadmap to success was something that I created. It is a 4-step bulletproof system that you can use to audit your business from top to bottom. This is what you really need to have in place. These are 4 pillars, must have pillars that are absolutely necessary for you to be successful in your tax business. If you do not have these four pillars in place, you are already starting on shaky ground. So be sure to have a pen and pad ready so that we can go through what these four pillars are and you can start to implement them immediately. So, starting with our first pillar, I know here that we are starting from top to bottom, but if you can imagine this pillar system is more like a bottom to top system. But anyway, starting with number one, we want to go into a strong foundation for your tax business. Whether it's virtual or in person, we need to have that strong foundation and understand what are the things that tie into a strong foundation for your tax office. So, starting with why is it important, right? Why is it important to start a strong foundation? Why can I just let people know that I'm doing taxes and just start preparing returns today? So, a strong foundation is essential for any tax business. Dare I say it's really essential for any business, but we're targeting tax businesses, so we'll keep it niche. A strong foundation is essential for any tax business because it sets the stage for sustainable growth and long term success. It is just like building a house. If the foundation of your house is weak, then all the walls that you build on top of it will soon crumble, right? So we need to ensure that we have compliance in place, we have the right structure, legal structure, and also operation structure, depending on if we're going to be virtual, in person, hybrid, etc. We need to craft a clear value proposition. This means people need to understand exactly what we offer. And just saying I do taxes is not going to be enough. You have to create a solid base that supports your business as it expands and evolves. So that means you're buying tools and you're buying software and you're buying technology that is expandable. It's not like a one time thing. Like, okay, I'm just using it for this moment and then I'm being done with it. So that means thinking about like maybe your client database, right? If you have a client database that's only limited to 50 clients, that's not something you may want to invest in because when you get past 50, you're going to have to find something else. So always make decisions for the now, thinking about the future. Without this foundation, scaling becomes unstable and it's full of avoidable challenges. So, again, when you make those decisions to buy the software that only holds 50 people, when you know that your potential, look in the comments, that is your potential. Your potential is 800 clients, right? How now when we get to 50 and we have 50 clients we're operating, we get to 51 to 60, we have to figure out something else. Now we're stopping our flow, and in the middle of our flow we're trying to figure out a solution to an avoidable problem. Had we just invested in the client management tool that allowed us to, increase its usage by 100 clients, or maybe we start off and get the first package with 200 and then we're able to increase from there. So, must have for tax pros. This is like my non negotiables. Before we even talk about money, before we talk about client goals, before we talk about the sexy stuff, like people love the marketing and they love that. That is the sexy stuff. We got to get through this first. You need to determine what your business structure is, right? Understand the difference between a business entity and a tax entity. So, a business entity is the legal structure under which your business operates. This is typically registered at your state level. And a tax entity refers to the classification used to determine how your business is taxed. So, for example, you may be registered as an LLC on a state level, but you may be taxed as an S Corp, or you may be taxed as a partnership on an IRS level. These are two important things to understand and make sure there is a distinction between each other. So, a business entity can often choose its tax entity classification. For instance, an LLC, right? On a state level, the foundation of it, the structure, legal structure of it is an LLC, but it's flexible and that it can be taxed as a sole proprietorship, it can be taxed as a partnership, it can be taxed as an S corp, it can be taxed as a C corp, depending on your setup, your preferences, and all of that depends on how you plan to operate your business. And this is something that you get consultation with someone in order to figure out how this is going to work. Again, we structure our business thinking about our future potential and what we want to do with it. We don't just do a quick fix and then later on we run into issues. Really have a talk with someone who is in this field, who does business consulting, that can properly advise you on what these entities are and which ones will work best for what you're trying to do. So, then another thing that is a must have for tax professionals is if you are filing tax returns for a fee, you need to have a prepared tax identification number. This is not, this is a non negotiable. If you up until this point have been preparing taxes as a ghost preparer, you've been preparing them under the table, you've been preparing them through those free file software programs, no judges here. No judges, but I'm telling you that right now, once you know better, you do better. So if you're listening to this webinar, you have now become aware that if you are preparing taxes for more than 10 people, you have to be a registered paid tax professional unless you are preparing those taxes for free. If you're preparing taxes for free, that's something completely different. But if you're preparing taxes for a fee and you have prepared more than 10 tax returns, you need to be registered as a paid preparer under the IRS. Having a PTIN has so many benefits. One, it demonstrates your compliance and professionalism. It shows clients that you adhere to the IRS regulations. Most importantly, you're a legitimate taxpayer. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten tax transcripts, and at the end, they're like, "Oh, I went to Jasmine, the tax professional." I'm like, "No, you didn't. You did these yourself," because it says self prepared at the bottom. That loses you so much credibility when someone went to you and entrusted you with doing the return and you went and filed under a self filing program. They're unaware of it. So if something happens, they have to take accountability because it looks like they did it on their own when in fact they paid you to do it. Right? We got to put on our big girl pants and we have to start looking the part that we want to be. Also, the PTIN creates a clear link between the tax preparer and the return, ensuring accountability. So if there is something that did happen, the client feels comfortable knowing that they have a professional to go back to say, "Hey, this is what the issue was. This is what happened. Can you help me?" Like they paid you for that service, you owe them that right and responsibility to be credible and reputable. So, in order to get a P10, it's actually super simple. It's your personal information. You, as long as you filed a tax return like the last 4 years, you should be able to pull your tax transcript. Just acknowledge yourself. If you have any details regarding any felonies or tax obligations that you had in the past, you would just explain those things, and then you pay about $20 for the year, and it's renewed annually. That is it, y'all. That's it. You just took yourself from an amateur to professional in all of 15 minutes. Another must have for tax professionals, if you are getting to a point where or even if you're just coming out the gate and you want to fully operate as an independent office, and I've met so many women who have been working at other tax offices before. Now they're ready to start their own thing. No problem at all. They have gone out and they have gotten their own um, electronic filing identification number. Is pretty simple to get. It's another level of just registration where you're able to just differentiate yourself. So not only are you able to prepare your own returns, you're able to transmit your own returns at your own time with the IRS. It does require you to create an e-services account. It is going to ask you about some demographic information. Everything it's free. I think the only thing you have to pay for is the fingerprints, and that appointment is set up once you do the application. And so when we're talking about a strong foundation, we need to understand what levels there are when it comes to being a tax professional, running your own tax business. So at the top, you have the IRS. Right under the IRS, you have those electronic return originators that I was just telling you about. You're able to transmit returns directly to the IRS, right? Under those electronic return originators, you have those PTIN holders, which are the tax professionals that do the returns, right? The EFIN holders are responsible for the PTIN holders, and then under there you see that the PTIN holders, which are the paid prepared, under them they have taxpayers. So every taxpayer is connected to that particular paid prepared, that person who's holding that PTIN. That PTIN holder is connected to whoever's holding that EFIN, that ERO. The ERO is connected to the IRS. So then when we're talking about a strong foundation as a tax professional, you always have to talk about your software. So we have two types of software. We have the self-preparation software, which is like the TurboTax, the Free Tax USAs. These allow taxpayers to prepare the returns without the assistance of a tax professional. They are advertised as like file for free options. Most importantly, most of them are web based. A few do come in desktop versions, and they're set up for single use options, meaning every time you log in, you have to create a new user ID if there is more than one person that is going to be filing. And taxpayers have to sign off on that return as self prepared when they're finalizing the return. So, as I said before, if you are using this type of software and you're calling yourself a tax professional, you need to exit stage left immediately, or exit stage right, whatever the saying is. And you need to go back 2 steps before this slide and get yourself professionally registered as a taxpayer. I mean, tax professional. There's no exceptions to that. Now, with professional tax software, this is what you're going to be looking for if you are looking to purchase software. This professional tax software is exclusively registered for the IRS tax professional. It can be web based or desktop based as well. In order to use this software, you do have to have proper credentials like your P10s and EFINs, things like that. The setup can have multiple user options. So it can be you, it can be your assistant, it can be maybe a tax professional that's working with you. And then when you're finalizing that return, most importantly, at the end of the 1040, it has to be signed off as paid preparer if you're getting paid. As you can see, the difference between the two, self prep software versus professional software, one allows for one return per user ID versus as a pay preparer, you can log in, you can see all of your clients at one time. You can file an unlimited number of returns under your user ID. With the self prep software, you have high potential for calculation errors because, again, these are softwares that typically target very specific people, which is like college students, low income individuals. They don't really specialize in more complicated tax returns that would require maybe tax planning added into that. Versus professional tax software, it does have a lot of fail-safe features to ensure proper calculations are in there. Again, with self-prep software, you can e-file up to the deadline of April. What is it, April 15th? With professional tax software, you can e-file up to, actually not October, you can actually e-file now up to December. Yes, you can transmit returns to the IRS up to December, and you can transmit returns for 3 years. So that means if someone comes to me and they have their current year and two prior years and they're getting refund all 3 years, I can transmit all those years to the IRS and they can all be in that person's account in 21 to 28 business days. And then last but not least, for the self prep software, you may pay filing fees up front and inability to correct errors when they occur. When it comes to professional tax software, some of them do have the ability where clients can pay at a later date. They can get advances. They can pay to get their refund put into their account 5 days earlier. It's a lot more benefits that come with professional tax software with products and services you can offer your clients. So here's a bonus section that I wanted to put in for you guys, which is a part of a strong foundation. Bonus meaning like it's not something that you need to do, but if you're looking into it, it's pretty good to have. I want you all to understand the difference between coaching, mentoring, and training. There's a ton of professionals out here who are advertising themselves as coaching tax pros, mentoring tax pros, or training tax pros. So I just want you to understand the difference because I see some people will buy into products and get upset when they don't get their desired results. And I think it's coming down to understanding what you're actually purchasing. So let me kind of break those down to you. So coaching helps refine, focus, and achieve specific objectives. Meanwhile, mentoring is a broader perspective and it's more like emotional support as far as like long term development. And then lastly, training equips individuals with tools and knowledge they need to execute a very specific task. So if we look at this on a chart, um, and we focus in on that. So, for example, coaching, right? Their approach would be performance and results. So that means they're more structured, they're more goal oriented. A lot of time coaching, you can get that like as one-on-one. And then they are with you for a specific period of time. Meaning for the most part, once those goals are accomplished, you're done. Their role is more facilitators. So they're going to be leading a lot of the conversations. They're going to be leading a lot of the exercises and things of that nature. And so, an example of a coach, right? Wording they would use would be like, hey, your goal is to achieve a 20% revenue increase, and these are the steps that we're going to take to do it. Once that 20% increase has happened, or until the end of the contract, once that happens, then you guys are done. Meanwhile, a mentor is more personal and professional growth, very relationship oriented and experience based. So, mentors use a lot of their own experience to help you grow career wise. And it's very much long term. I've never seen a definitive timeline on mentoring. And think of their role as an advisor like, okay, this is what you're thinking. Let me show you the best way to navigate that. And I would say it's less of um, quantitative data, more qualitative, like how you feel about what you're doing and like relating personal experiences for you to feel comfortable and confident in your current business. And then last one, a trainer. I feel like it's pretty much straight to the point. It's really just skill acquisition and knowledge. It's more formal. A lot of times it's curriculum based and it's short term. So it may be one class, one webinar, maybe a series of workshops. And it's just really instructor or lecturer based. So learn how to do X, Y, and Z. Learn how to get 100 clients in 100 days, learn how to file a Schedule C, understand how to read a 1040. That is the difference. So if you've purchased something and you feel like, well, this person's not showing up or they're not responding here or they're not giving me what I need, X, Y, and Z, look at these differences, look at what you purchase and see if these things match. Okay, so we're going to go over into step two. This may be a part one and part two workshop. I'll kind of let you guys know as we're going along. Okay, so we talked about the strong foundation. I went through with you all. The next part we're going to talk about step two is the everyone's favorite part how to attract clients and how to retain clients. Why is this important? So, attracting and retaining clients is the livelihood of any service based business. We don't have people to service, we are pretty much not in business. So, attracting clients keeps your pipeline full and it drives immediate revenue. If someone comes into the door of your hair salon, they get their hair done, boom, you get paid. Right? Retaining clients ensures long term stability and loyalty. So we want to make sure that not only is that client coming in the door to get their hair done, but they book an appointment to come back again and again and again. That is called the lifetime value of a client. Repeat clients not only save you costs of acquiring new ones, but they also become your best advocates. So if let's take this a step further, it's still same hair salon scenario. I paid $300 for flyers. I put that flyer out there. One client came in, got her hair done. She paid $400 to get her hair done, right? So 300 to put the flyers out. I got one person in, that person paid $400. So the cost to acquire that client, hypothetically speaking, was $300. Now that client has booked another appointment in another month or two, she's going to pay another $400. So now I've gotten $800 off that client that I only paid $300 to get from some flyers. I did not have to pay $300 every single time to acquire that client. I paid $300 one time. That client came in, got a service, and I kept reaching out to them to book more services, and they kept coming. So I paid the cost to acquire that client one time was at 300, and then over the long term, right? Like I'm starting to get more money for that client. So not only are they cheaper than acquiring new clients, they're also your best advocates. They're more likely to tell more people about you. They will fuel referrals if they really, really love your services. And they also build trust within your community. So if someone is new that has never used you before and they're kind of nervous, they will let them know, like, hey, girl, no, she's good. I've been using her for 7 years. My family loves her. Right. So what we want to do is put those two together, retaining clients and acquiring new clients to create a sustainable growth cycle. I've seen some tax professionals, some tax girlies that are really good at keeping clients. I've seen some that are really good at getting in clients. We want to do both. Recruiting clients is one aspect of growth. However, true growth is measured the amount of times that a client comes back. So a lot of tax folks will brag like, oh, I have a great strategy to get clients in the door, get early follows in the door. That's amazing. But how do we keep them coming back? Because remember, every time someone comes in the door, there's a cost for that person to come in the door. Whether it's a cost such as flyers or whether it's Facebook ads, there is a cost. Meaning if we get that client to stay, not only are we driving that cost down, we can take that money to expand and acquire new clients, maybe in new demographics. Demographic areas. So I just kind of broke this down. Thinking of seeing a flyer at a great restaurant, the advertising may get you in the door, but the food is what's going to keep you coming back. Most tax businesses lose between 10 and 30% of their clientele base each year. It just happens. There is just loss associated with any industry. You just have to know what your loss is. So we do lose around 10% of our clients. I would say 10 to 15% of our clients every year. We also do have a strategy in which we get those it's called a returning clients campaign that we do to get those clients come back who may have missed a year of filing. It doesn't matter what the reason was that they left. A lot of people just left just to try someone new, or a family member referred them somewhere, or they got married and their husband had a new tax professional they were trying out. It's the craziest things. But regardless of what the reasons they left, the clients do leave. And so we need to always think about, what do I need to do to bring more clients into my business? And how do I keep the ones that I have? So let's talk about how to get more clients into your business. The first thing we want to think about is what our recruitment strategy is. This is when you have your pen and pad out, right? We want to do a few things. We want to tap into our local market. by creating affiliates with local businesses. Even if you're a virtual tax office, you can still go into your local beauty supplies, restaurants, department stores, wherever you think your ideal client is, and create affiliate programs with them. The affiliate program could be anything. It could be, hey, I put this QR code in your business, and it's a special QR code. For every person that scans that QR code that uses our services, you get a kickback of $10 or $15, whatever the case is. A lot of businesses will let you put your stuff up for free just because they want to see local community members thrive. We also want to do cross referral programs. So if you have someone that is, for example, we do really well with our mortgage lenders, and with our real estate professionals. So if you have people that are in that service your target audience, you want to talk about cross pollination programs. So hey, you do bookkeeping, I do taxes. I refer people to you, right? And you refer people to me. Again, a lot of times we don't even do referral fees because we both mutually benefit off of these referral clients. But if you think about it, that's another free way for you to get people without having to work. And it is so successful. We have so many really, really great partners that we cross pollinate with, and it worked out really well. Pay to play platforms. If you are not a talker, you don't want to get out there and ask for the money. I mean, you just got to pay to play. That's just what it is. Pay to play is just paid advertisement. You pay, they work. You pay, they work. So that's Facebook ads, Google ads, influencer pages, user generated content, TikTok ads, paying those folks. It's like just really straight to the point. You tell them what you're looking for, they give you a set fee, you pay them, and then they put your advertisement out there. And then we have that good old guerrilla marketing. It never gets old. Flyers, posters, word of mouth, yard signs, text messages, emails, marketing campaigns. Believe it or not, guerrilla marketing is still one of the, if not the top way to market. That's why it still works. I know you look at billboards and be like, why are they still up here? They're non-existent. No, they're there because they work. Yard signs work, text messaging work, email works. All this stuff still works. It is about tapping into something that you can commit to realistically to recruit. Now we're going from recruitment to retention. Once we get them in the door, how do we keep them, right? We keep them by a few different things. Offer incentives that everyone can receive. So, meaning when you come to that door, you can get a gift card, a vacation voucher, a coupon, a branded merchandise, whatever it is. For us, if you're a first time filer, you get $25, I think $25 off your prep fee. Or you may do a vacation voucher, or you may every person that files, they get one of your branded merchandise, right? We had some charges we were giving away that were like really, really popular. Another retention strategy is to touch base throughout the year. I don't want you to file my taxes in February and then I don't hear from you until next February. That is just so transactional. And doing taxes, you're in a relationship based business. You are trading, like you're dealing with someone's money. You're dealing with like the most sensitive and vulnerable part of that person besides their health. They don't want to feel transactional. So reaching out on special holidays, wishing clients happy birthday, other anniversaries, offering opportunities throughout the year to meet regarding tax planning, even if they never take it up, excuse me, offering those things, tracking those things. And these things only happen when you implement automations, when you implement technology, and when you have what I said before, a solid foundation and a systematic approach to running your business. Another way to retain clients is to create a unique filing experience. So, one thing that we really love and our clients really love is that we call it a luxury filing experience. Really, it's just the colors, it's just the experience. They come in, if they want to come in, they get snacks. They, get something to drink. We have a little play area for the kids. That's when we were in person. And then now being virtual, our unique filing experience, our luxury filing experiences, you get text messages, emails, and phone calls saying, hey, how, your appointment is coming up. How was your appointment? You get 2 to 3 touch points. We let you know throughout the preparation process, hey, your return has been started. Your return has been submitted. Do you have any questions here? Like, we make sure that we give a lot of detail and attention to the client in our virtual experience, and that's what we consider it luxury. A unique filing experience in person, like I said, can be something warm and welcoming and and inviting, just like snacks and drinks. Snacks, it just goes a long way. Snacks, drinks, and like I said, have something intentional for the kids to do. And if it's virtual, just a streamlined process and proactive communication. That is literally considered luxury. Like, my clients love it. They get a text message, hey, your tax return has been started. Your tax estimate has been sent to your email. They get a video of me or one of my staff members. Hey, thank you for filing with us. This is the next steps you should be expecting now that your return has been filed. It is not big. It's just small intentional touches, right? We want to be, I love Nordstrom. So we want to be like the Nordstrom of tax filing. Pick a brand, study that brand, and implement that brand into your business. Okay, bonus. So we're going to take a brief break here. We're going to do a nice little fun exercise. I know we went through steps 1 and 2. Step 1 was a strong foundation. Step 2 was how to attract and retain clients. Our bonus exercise is called "What Do You Say? What Do You Do?" What do you say and what do you do? So drop it in the comments for me. When someone asks you, what do you do? What do you say? So someone walks up to you. What do you say when someone asks you, hey, Tiffany, what do you do? Hey, Latoya, what do you do? You're at a networking event. What do you do? Drop it in the chat for me. When someone asks you, what do you do? What do you say? Drop it in the chat. Give you a few minutes. Or write it down on your piece of paper if you're watching this on YouTube. All right. So, if you did do this exercise, yes. Mostly everyone put in the chat, I'm a tax professional. I do taxes. I own a virtual tax office. I'm a tax preparer, right? We want to make sure that we are creating a purpose driven business. My belief is that we all have a gift, and our gift is to be of service to others. We are, and I always compare, and I heard this great analogy somewhere, and it's for years, it just never left me. We're like apple trees. Apple trees produce and give apples, as many apples as they possibly can. They don't say, I'm gonna give apples to you and not give apples to you, or I don't like how you look, so I'm not gonna give you an apple. They just produce and they give their gift. Their gift is what? Their gift is apples. That is literally what they do. They have their purpose and they live their life through their purpose until they can't do it anymore. So that's what we want to do. We don't want to just have a business that we're operating just to generate income. And even if that is what you genuinely only want to do, that is fine. But you will find that very exhausting after a while if it is not attached to a purpose. Remember, facts tell and stories sell. So, what we want to do, instead of telling people, I am a tax professional, I am a tax preparer, I own a tax business, we want to create purpose with what we say so that people can understand not only who we are, but understand what we do and feel the passion behind that. So the words that we want to use, the sentence starters, we want to say, I help, I create, I support, I approach, I teach. These are the sentence starters that we want to use. Pick one, doesn't matter. Whatever you put in the chat, we are going to reword that. So, an example would be I help. I help tax filers maximize their returns using a customized approach. I create opportunities for tax filers to become more informed while completing their annual return. I support I support small businesses with financial planning to create stability for growth. I approach tax filing with a unique eye, ensuring each filer gets tailored support. I teach taxpayers how to identify unethical practices by educating through my clients while preparing their returns. Yes, that is it. Pick one, anyone, spin it into your own. But make sure when you're talking with purpose, and this is going to make you stand apart. Okay, we have reached our 1 hour mark for part one of our webinar. I am going to stop here. We'll be back for a part two. Please make sure that you tune in. Make sure you take notes. Make sure you share this. Make sure you tag people. We are working to create this community. Looking at how many people engage in our webinars and our educational content is going to let me know exactly what we need to put in place when it comes to this pilot program. We really are passionate about this, and we think that this is a community that will help so many tax girlies out there. We just want to make sure we have the numbers that support the work that we're going to be putting out. So if you enjoyed this, let us know. If you want to see other educational pieces, let us know as well. If you found this helpful, let us know and look out for part two. Make sure you are subscribing. Make sure you are turning on your notifications, and make sure you are commenting below if you have any questions so far.